Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, Friday announcements and dua request. Inshallah, we'll have ISCC Youth Qiyam for high school and college students tonight at 11 p.m. with Mufti Wasim. ISCC Youth Carnival is on June 5th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We have put up the Eid Carnival, which we did not do right after Eid because our youth have classes and they're finishing up their final exam. So inshallah, we set the date for June 5th. We like to request all the community members come with your family and friends and enjoy the Eid Carnival. We have programs, we have rides for both kids, adults, youths, inshallah. So please come and join. IECC have various summer programs offered at IECC, starting with Quranic education class, part-time hifz, full-time hifz, boot camp, and Taqwa Seminar Arabic for kids as well. So please check the bulletin board or check the Mohit and come by the office, inshallah. ICC Taqwa Seminary graduation for Marifa, Rufqa and Arabic program will be June 4th at 11:30 a.m. inshallah at ICC gym. We invite all the community members to join. ICC membership. This year is the ICC Shura election in November. So the last day for you to become a member in order to participate in the election is May 27th. You can be member at any time, but in order to participate in the election, you have to be a registered member 6 months before the election. Keep that in mind, inshallah. Now, few dua requests. Dua and maghfirah for Dr. Ibrahim El-Turai. He was the father of Sister Nagia El-Turai Muharram, who passed away in California. The family is requested for your dua. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. May Allah forgive his shortcomings. May Allah forgive his sins. May Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus. And may Allah give family sabr, inshallah. Dua and shifa for a 22-year-old Sister Saba Zunaid who is in ICU. The family is requested for your dua. May Allah give her quick and complete shifa, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, inshallah, before we have the adhan, the call of the adhan, inshallah, I request everyone if we can stand up, inshallah. Let us all rise. And inshallah, if you see a vacant spot in front of you, please feel free to move up and fill in that void. If there is space next to you, humbly request the person behind you to move up, inshallah, and fill in that void. Once we see that our line is complete, then inshallah we can have a seat. This will help us accommodate those brothers and sisters who are coming after us. The Quran teaches us if we make space for others, Allah makes space for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make ample space for us all in our life and in our akhirah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Bismillah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الأكرم الذي خلق الإنسان وكرم وعلمه من البيان ما لم يعلم، فسبحان الذي لا يحصى امتنانه باللسان ولا بالقلم. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فجزاه الله عنا وعن كل المسلمين خيرا. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, examples. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given many throughout the Holy Quran. The purpose? to allow the reader to contextualize and thereby personalize that message. By doing so, the message can hit a different note in one's inner self. The beauty of the examples depicted in the Holy Quran is that irrespective of time or place, it remains relevant. Some hit home positively, inspiring one to do better, while others instill fear and serve as a deterrent from evil. Let's pause on this thought. I want us to take a moment now and understand drowning. What is it? How does it feel? And what happens to the one in such a situation? In short, it's a horrible sensation. It is suffocation by immersion in a liquid, usually water. Water closes over the victim's mouth and nose, cutting off the body's supply of oxygen. Deprived of oxygen, the victim stops struggling, loses consciousness, and gives up the remaining tidal air in their lungs. One thing to note is that irrespective if it's a ship, a boat, a raft, when people go down under, they immediately forget about everyone but themselves. Not too long later, they give up on themselves. This is a staunch reality. I talked about examples, talked about drowning. What's the correlation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this phenomenon, i.e. drowning, in the Quran as an example that highlights two things. Number one, what causes it? And number two, what can save one from it? To put the example in perspective, my fellow Muslims, while describing the actions of those who reject Allah, He gives the similitude of a desert mirage. It looks plentiful from a distance, but once you get there, it's nowhere to be seen. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً حتى إذا جاءه لم يجده شيئا ووجد الله عنده فوفاه حسابه والله سريع الحساب. But those who disbelieved, their deeds are like a mirage in a lowland which a thirsty one thinks is water. They see from a distance down in the desert there's water there. يحسبه الظمآن ماء حتى إذا جاءه. But until when he comes to it, he finds it is nothing, but finds Allah before him, and he will pay him in full his due, and Allah is swift in account. Describing a disbeliever's belief on their actions and their life, Allah is saying it's only a mirage. And when they come to it, they will realize it's nothing, but then that nothing is too late, because before them is Allah, and Allah will tell them what was the reality of their actions, and Allah will do it quickly. He goes on to elaborate now not only the reality of their actions, but the feeling they will experience upon realizing this reality. And that's the purpose of this example. أَوْ كَظُلُمَاتٍ فِي بَحْرِ اللُّجِّيِّ يَغْشَاهُ مَوْجٌ مِنْ فَوْقِهِ مَوْجٌ مِنْ فَوْقِهِ سَحَابٌ ظُلُمَاتٌ بَعْضُهَا فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَاهَا. Or they are like darknesses within an unfathomable sea, which is covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds. Darknesses, some of them layered upon others. When one puts out his hand, he can hardly see it. The feeling of a person who thinks they're going right only to be confronted by reality and acknowledge that they are wrong is the example of a person who's drowning in layers of darknesses that are suffocating not just their lungs and their mouth and their nose, but even their eyes, to the extent that if they were to stick their hand in front of their face, they can't see their hand. Allah describes this phenomenon in this Quran to tell us two things, as I stated. Number one, what causes it? Here Allah gave the example. Darknesses. Darknesses that not only separate you from reality, that separate you from Allah, that separate you from everything that you have, but it ultimately separates you from yourself. A word comes to mind here that summarizes this feeling to me, and that is the word debilitating. I want us all, my fellow Muslims, to put this scenario, a debilitating one, into perspective with our current day reality. Because as I stated, the examples in the Quran continue to remain relevant irrespective of the time, irrespective of the place. Today, in our current world, as people find the need to separate from each other, shunning the current norm to create a new norm, as if waves are crashing upon us, dividing us, creating darkness between us, and pulling each person away from another, it is important that we figure out sooner than later what is causing this all. If not, we might find ourselves in more misery than we thought we were in, thereby giving up on our very selves after feeling that we were liberating ourselves. Today we have become a being that hates everything that was gifted to us. We have come as far as hating life itself. And for those who question if there's one who gifted it, they question even him why he gave it. The knee-jerk result is get away from everything and everyone. What's the goal? I want peace, not realizing that they're drowning. You can't find peace in drowning. You can't even find yourself. Upon much reflection on this situation over the last few weeks, I came to an understanding that two things are driving this wedge between our current norm and us all. I can describe them as, number one, drowning in misery. We will find in the people today that many are drowning in misery. Why don't I have? Why don't I have the looks of that person? Why don't I have the money like that person? Why don't I have a fun life like those people? Why can't I have dreams that become a reality like that person? It's all about what I don't have that has resulted in the masses drowning in misery. And the second phase of people are those who are drowning in ingratitude. You see, there are those who envy, who drool over what others have, not realizing that those people may be the very second category who are drowning in ingratitude, which is, why do I have? Why do I have this family? Why do I have this marriage? Why do I have this job? Why do I have this life? Why do I have these features? Why do I have this reality? Why couldn't it be different? I hope this clicks, my fellow Muslims, Because it's constantly just, it's exacerbating. It's a snowball effect. We're facing an avalanche here. And the sad thing is, we are so fixated on our artificial and superficial world that instead of running from the avalanche, everyone's taking out their cameras and live streaming and walking towards it. We have become a creation that wants to drown. There is a reason why at the core of our faith is the belief that everything good and bad is from Allah, teaching us that what you have and what you don't is from Him. He knows you better than you know yourself. In addition, He has written everything before the creation was created, so don't waste life hoping for the impossible and changing what is destined. It is in such scenarios that we are in that we can value or hopefully realize and thus value what our faith is all about. Why don't I have or why do I have isn't the question of a believer, because a believer has been taught from the get-go, وَالْقَدْرِ خَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ مِنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. Everything that you would deem good or even bad is all from Allah. وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Allah wrote what a person is going to get before He even created everything. So don't go down that path. That's a rabbit's hole. It's not going to take you anywhere good. If we forget this elementary teaching, my fellow Muslims, we will fall with the world. No one ever wished for better, but disconnected themselves from what was best. Everything comes at a cost, and that came at the cost of loss. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter 16 verse 112 gives us another example. وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا قَرْيَةً كَانَتْ آمِنَةً مُطْمَئِنَّةً يَأْتِيهَا رِزْقُهَا رَغَدًا مِنْ كُلِّ مَكَانٍ فَكَفَرَتْ بِأَنْعُمِ اللَّهِ فَأَذَاقَهَا اللَّهُ لِبَاسَ الْجُوعِ وَالْخَوْفِ بِمَا كَانُوا يَصْنَعُونَ. Why don't I have? Why do I have? Let's talk about why do I have. Allah presents an example. A city which is safe and secure. Its provisions come to it in abundance from every location. But the people denied the favors of Allah. So Allah made it taste the envelopment of hunger and fear for what they had been doing. What were they doing? They weren't happy with what they had. Why is life so good? Why is goodness coming from all over? I don't like it. Allah said, I'll take it. And He took it. لِبَاسَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. They were enveloped in hunger and fear. Hence, my fellow Muslims, back to the example of drowning. Allah describes the one thing that can save you if you're drowning. Again, the Quran is full of examples. These examples are telling us something today, here and now. Upon describing the phenomenon of drowning, we find Allah described it in the Holy Quran. And there's something that causes it, and there's something that will protect you from it. What causes it is darkness. The two elements of darkness in our world today is why I don't have and why I have. If we can save ourselves from this darkness, my fellow Muslims, we can save ourselves from self-inflicted harm and self-inflicted destruction. No one's happy today. No one. That means we're falling already. What can save us? If you realize that falling isn't the norm, stop yourself. save yourself. They teach you in skiing, they teach you in skating how to stop, how to start maneuvering your body in a way that you can slow down this speed, because if you don't, you may break your body into bits. What do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes what will save us. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا فَمَا لَهُ مِن نُورٍ. And he to whom Allah has not granted light, for him there is no light. I.e., the one thing, the only thing that can save us today from ourselves is the light of Allah. How important is light? Ask the person who's drowning in an ocean which is waves, covered by dark clouds, when they can't see their own hand in front of their face. Light is everything at that moment. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran states, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, tubu ila Allahi tawbatan nasuha, asa rabbukum an yukaffira ankum sayyiatikum, wa yudkhilkum jannatin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, yawma la yukhzi Allahu an-nabiyya walladhina amanu ma'ahu, nuruhum yas'a bayna aydihim wa bi aymanihim yaquluna rabbana atmim lana nurana waghfir lana innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. O you who have believed, repent to Allah with sincere repentance. Perhaps your Lord will remove from you your misdeeds and admit you into gardens beneath which rivers flow on the day when Allah will not disgrace the prophets and those who believed in Him. Here's the point. Nuruhum, their light will proceed before them and on their right, and they will say, Rabbana atmim lana nurana, O our Lord, perfect for us our light, waghfir lana, and forgive us. Indeed, you are over all things competent. Here Allah is describing the power of repentance, and He's describing the state of the prophets, those who Allah has promised He will not disgrace. And what is the tool that He empowers them with? It is called a light. The light which guides them through the darknesses of this world, to the darkness of the grave, to the darkness of the day of judgment, all the way to the light of Jannah. This light navigates them till the light. This light is their guide and assistance to that eternal light. And they are praying to Allah in that time, as they pray to Allah in this world, Rabbana atmim lana nurana, O Allah, complete for us your light. May Allah keep His light in us, on us, with us, and around us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. There's just so much to unpack here, my fellow Muslims. But upon reflecting on what is actively happening, as we see the misery, the state of misery and ingratitude that our world is being plagued by, being plucked one after the other from each other, I hope we can appreciate the central theme of our Islam, which serves as a deterrent from all that is happening only if we could appreciate it and uphold it. And that is the concept of ummah, ittihad, unity, oneness, togetherness. It makes so much sense to me today why ummah is so important, because everyone is like an individual drowning, forgetting about each other, thinking that they're going to do good themselves, realizing very shortly thereafter they put themselves in more harm than they were in previously. If we could just appreciate our teachings, if we could just appreciate our religion, if we can just trust Allah and His word, we will not be where we are today. And if we could grasp it, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, Allah is commanding us, hold firm to the rope of Allah. When a lifeguard saves you, they find find you like a needle in a haystack in the middle of a dark ocean, and they throw that boogie or lifesaver, and you grasp onto it with your life because you know your life relies on it and your life depends on it. Allah is saying, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. All of you hold on to the rope of Allah together. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And don't separate. Because when we start separating, we become the sheep that the wolf shaitan attacks one by one. He will devour us. He is devouring us, and we will give him only another meal to consume. My fellow Muslims, we need to save ourselves from drowning in these two tsunamis overtaking us, separating us, and thereby debilitating each of us. If the thought has ever crossed your mind, why I don't have, or why I have, the tsunami has hit you. How do I save myself? As Allah told us, by seeking His light. Where do I find this light? Which masjid is it in? Which speaker has it? Which program will it be available at? Where do I find His light? My fellow Muslims, find His light in adopting one thing and discarding one thing. It's simple. Number one, find His light in patience. Patience is in three things. Patience on good. Whatever you're able to do, be patient and continue to do it. Don't discard your life thinking that there's something better elsewhere. As-sabru ala ta'a. To be patient on persevering to do what is good. There is a system that Allah has created that the world today is not just questioning, they are overriding, discarding, and trying to create their own. At that time, it becomes ever more so important to be patient and steadfast on goodness. Number two is the patience of refraining from evil. As much as the world is enticing us to question our very being, our existence, our religion, our ways, and it's luring us away, as-sabru anil ma'asiyah, be patient and abstain from sins. Was-sabru ala al-bala. No one's life is perfect. No one's life is what they wished it could be. But to be patient in your tests is the best option for every person. As you work to better your test, holding on to the goodness, abstaining from the temptations of discarding and abandoning ship, know that patience is so important that patience produces gratitude, and Allah is with those who exhibit patience and thus gratitude. Inna Allaha ma'a sabirin. As Allah said, He is with those who are patient. So if you feel you're drowning, the light of Allah can save you. And if you haven't put yourself in the scenario where you are drowning, then prevent yourself from drowning by adopting patience into life. It's easy to forget what you have when the glitter and glamour of everything around you entices you to look that way and walk that way. My fellow Muslims, stay firm, stay steadfast. Number two, the one thing we need to abstain from in order to find Allah's light. Find Allah's light in patience, and find Allah's light in discarding fantasy. We are being bombarded today through social media and every other means to abandon ship and drown. The two questions that I've told you, why I don't have, why I have, the driving force behind it, of course it's shaitan. But the greater tools that he's using for it is our social media and movies. And I'm not going to stand up here before you as someone who's oblivious of these two. I use these tools, and I watch movies. But I'll tell you one thing. If you don't realize what it's doing to you, if you don't seek the lessons in what's going on, if you don't understand the mechanism that's being used to make a 4-year-old child think that they're not the gender that they are and they're not who they think they are, you are fooling yourselves. Learn the tools of the devil and use it against him. Don't let him use it on you. We are opening social media as if it is the guiding star. It's the North Star for the oceans of our time. It's not a star. It is a pit of hell. My fellow Muslims, the reality behind our misery in our world today and our state of ingratitude, wishing we weren't who we were and wishing that we were something we cannot be, are these two forces. If you can't control yourselves with these two, that means is you're not only drowning, it's pulling you down under. My fellow Muslims, the light of Allah is for everyone who wants it. Let us seek the light of Allah. Let us grasp onto the rope of Allah. Let us be grateful for what He's given us and what He's made us. Because truly we didn't deserve any of this, but He through His grace and mercy gave it to us. May Allah allow us to be grateful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be patient. May Allah allow us to remain steadfast on His path. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us firdaus al-a'la in the akhirah. Ameen. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who guided us, who mentored us, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Let us all stand up inshallah and form our lines. Make sure the edge of our heel is on the edge of the line. Stand shoulder to shoulder. Please fill in all the gaps in between. If you want, you can continue to wear a mask. If not, then that's perfectly fine. May Allah keep us all healthy, safe, and under His protection. Ameen Rabbil Alameen.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. التحيات لله والصلوات السلام عليك ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.